son baskıyı bitirmeden önce önemli bir röportaja götüreceğiz sizi. Kripto paralarda sert iniş çıkışlar artık tarih mi oluyor? EAK Digital CEO'su Erhan Korhaliller, sektörün olgunlaştığını ve önümüzdeki yıllarda çok daha dengeli bir piyasa göreceğimizi söylüyor. Son baskıyı bu röportajla bitirelim. 19.10'da sanat sohbetimizle tekrar görüşmek üzere diyelim. Hoşçakalın.
CNBC ekranlarında blockchain, yapay zeka ve Web3 evrenini değerlendirmek üzere konuğumuz yanımızda. Bizlere EAK Digital CEO'su Erhan Korhaliller eşlik ediyor. Mr. Korhaliller, welcome to CNBC channel.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
How would you describe the current state of the Web3 industry globally, and what roles is Turkey starting to play in that transformation?
Yeah, look, I mean, the crypto industry for a long time has been lots of hype cycles. You've seen it yourself. There's been a lot of assets have appreciated so high and then come so down, and that's made retail very, very worried about investing. But now we're finally starting to see the maturity of the whole Web3 ecosystem, which is obviously fantastic to see. When I say maturity, we're seeing likes of real world asset tokenization starting to take off, which is bringing on the traditional financial market into this whole tokenized digital asset space, which is obviously fantastic. And on top of that, we're seeing many different intersections of crypto and AI now coming together, which we'll talk about later, I think, as well. And look, I think it's really important. The whole meme coin phase is now kind of died down, and now we're starting to see projects with real utility rise to the fore, which is fantastic. In terms of what is Turkey's role in this space, I think Turkey plays a very critical role in this space, which is very important. I mean, it has the third, fourth highest trading volume in the world. Right? That's a massive feat. And also, in addition to that, obviously the way that Istanbul is located, between Asia and Europe as a gateway regionally, it means that it's a very, very important player in this space. Let's not forget, Turkey has 86 million people in the country. It's a very young, technical savvy population, and they got in early. At the end of the day, back in 2019 when I got into this space, Turkey had around 20% of the population that had used or owned cryptocurrencies, which was huge, and still remains one of the largest countries in the world for blockchain adoption. So for that reason, Turkey is right at the forefront of this industry.
AI is everywhere right now, but how is the intersecting with blockchain and DeFi?
Yeah, so AI is amazing when it comes to DeFi. So DeFi obviously stands for decentralized finance, and for most people it's too difficult to use. You have to be very technical, you have to be very savvy, but with AI it basically does it all for you. So AI, just like ChatGPT, it allows you an interface with the blockchain to actually get you the best optimized yields on your crypto or your assets, which before you had to be a big technical expert to do so. In addition, AI is now actually overlaying on major crypto exchanges, which is allowing you to learn how to trade and telling you exactly what are the right setups, because AI just analyzes the chart and tells you exactly how to do it. So it's really bringing down the barriers of entry to blockchain for the masses. So for example, my mum, my dad, who otherwise wouldn't know about how to do this stuff, can use AI to guide them. So I think AI is playing a critical role in onboarding the masses, obviously, and soon it will be very easy to trade crypto and to utilize DeFi just as easy as it is to use ChatGPT, which is a major breakthrough for crypto and blockchain.
We keep hearing about the real world assets. So what are they, and why is everyone in Web3 suddenly talking about them?
So real world assets is exactly what it sounds like. Real estate, commodities, bonds, equities. These are traditional asset classes that I'm sure you speak about all the time on CNBC. Now, by utilizing crypto DeFi liquidity, it actually bringing a whole nother layer to real world assets. Obviously, initially, real world assets, traditional bonds and equities, they're just, they're in the traditional markets, the markets close. With crypto, there's a huge amount of liquidity that can come in and start trading these assets. Now, let's think about it. You can actually tokenize real estate. You can tokenize art. It could be gold. Basically anything of value. Think even intellectual property can be tokenized. So, some of your favorite brands, some of your favorite, artists can be tokenized. And that actually provides a much interesting opportunity for investors to actually start basically being able to get access to assets that they never used to be able to. Think about it. If you wanted to buy a real estate that cost 5 million euros, but you weren't able to do that. But now even with $100, you can take a part of that real estate. So it's very interesting because it brings more and more people opportunities to invest in the market. You get a lot more liquidity, and we've seen BlackRock and huge financial players now really taking to blockchain and asset tokenization because of what this provides. So real-world assets, I think, is a gateway for institutions to come in and actually legitimize this industry, and we're already seeing that play out now.
I talk about the blockchain week. What makes Istanbul Blockchain Week different from other crypto conferences around the world?
Yeah, look, Istanbul Blockchain Week is the largest event in the whole region. You know, we attract 5,000 attendees, and I'm sure more and more as the years go along. Now, we focus a lot on education. You know, as you know, and as we spoke about before, it's difficult to understand this whole blockchain and crypto industry. So we have workshops, we have roundtables from even leading corporate, even traditional companies. At this event this year, we have the likes of Microsoft, PwC, Ernst & Young, you know, names that you'll have heard of, as well as more native Web3 projects, like delivering these educational seminars, classes, and workshops. This year, you know, we have a very big emphasis, like you said, on real-world assets because it's right at the top of the agenda. We also have a very big emphasis on AI because everyone's talking about AI and it's taken over our world. It'll probably take our jobs soon. But no, in general, like Istanbul Blockchain Week, I think it's very, very important because it's the only event every year that the global players come to Turkey for blockchain and Web3. So we're bringing, you know, billion-dollar companies from the US, from Asia, from Europe that otherwise wouldn't have come to Turkey, and they're all coming in the next week at 26th, 27th of June.
So you have been running EAK Digital for several years now. What roles play in the shaping the Web3 space in the Turkey and beyond?
Yeah, I think we've had a significant impact in the growth and of Web3 and crypto in Turkey because obviously we've hosted Istanbul Blockchain Week since 2020 now, so this is the 5th year. We also have a dedicated team here in Turkey, so we help global projects, basically work in the Turkish market. We also help Turkish projects get global attention. Like with my background, I'm half Turkish, half British, so we're the bridge really between Turkey and the rest of the world in this industry. EAK Digital, we've launched over 300 projects over the last 8 years in crypto. We started the agency in 2017. We're now 8 years old, so we are veterans in this space. And as we've continued to grow over the years, we're much more strategic in our approach. We help projects and protocols on a number of different things, including marketing, public relations, influencers, exchange listings, investment, and so on. So we continue to obviously invest in Turkey. We're very happy and want to support Turkish projects to help give them global attention. At the same time, bring international projects into Turkey and for them to really understand how to make an impact in this market.
So, and you have worked with the major Web3 brands globally. What are they most excited about right now?
So they're obviously very excited about all the ETFs that have been announced and has been getting loads of investment. This is Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF, there's talks of Solana ETF, and the list goes on. Now that is obviously legitimizing the space massively. We've seen institutions now, businesses basically putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So again, that's really, really legitimizing Bitcoin as an asset class, which legitimizes the whole industry, as a ripple effect. So that's obviously quite exciting. Now, obviously we already discussed AI. Now AI is just taking over the whole world, as we discussed, and a lot of them are thinking about how they can integrate AI into their projects and protocols. And I think the intersection of AI and blockchain is very, very interesting, because AI without blockchain means it's quite difficult for example, let's just think, for example, if you're using ChatGPT right now, and you're telling them how it makes you feel. OpenAI in the US is getting all that data from you, right? Or if you're using DeepSeek, that's going to China, which you don't really want to do. So in Web3 and crypto, you are able to, for example, use AI, but actually store all the information locally on your machine, which means that your data stays with you, which is one of the core principles and assets of crypto and blockchain in the first place. So that's really interesting. And then finally, of course, real-world asset tokenization, like we just discussed. These are the hot topics right now. It's bringing potentially $100 trillion of assets into this whole digital asset space, which is absolutely huge, both for the financial traditional world and for our world, the Web3 world. So marrying that together will actually bring mainstream adoption of digital assets.
What sets EAK Digital apart from the other agency in the Web3 space?
Yeah, I think EAK, because we've been around for 8 years, we have such a broad spectrum when we work with our clients. We're working on advisory, we're working on investments, we're working on their marketing, we're working on so many different areas there. Tokenomics is very important with it, obviously, because there's a token to every single project. If you get that wrong, you're in trouble. So I think with EAK, we have such an outstanding network because we've run events, not just in Turkey, we also run events in Dubai, we've run events in Portugal, in Singapore. Obviously, Turkey is most important for us. But by having that network, we're able to help projects scale very, very quickly because we're connected to 99% of the industry. That includes exchanges, custody providers, even traditional banks, influencers, and much, much more. So I think what sets EAK apart really is our credibility in the market. 8 years is a long time to be in crypto. It's like 80 years. And not only that is obviously the strong connections and expertise that we have to help our clients' success.
What do you think Turkey has one of the most active Web3 communities in the world?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a huge country first and foremost. It's a very young, digital savvy country. Everyone pretty much in the country has access to a mobile phone and the internet. Mobile gaming here is very strong. Everyone's used to using points and getting coins. And not only that, from my own experience, Turkish people in general are very entrepreneurial, very entrepreneurial. They start their own businesses, the family businesses. So when they see an opportunity like in blockchain and Web3, they just take it on because it's an amazing opportunity, because I don't think Turkey has had such an opportunity to be at the forefront of such a major societal change in finance and in technology that it has now. And it's going to be very, very important that the regulation that's coming is not going to stifle innovation. It's going to actually, obviously we need to be regulated, of course we need that, but it needs to make sure that the regulation is actually enables and doesn't restrict kind of Turkish businesses and entrepreneurs. And I know the Capital Markets Board right now is just putting together regulation, and many they've got many interesting points to make on those. But we've also seen tons of American companies coming into Turkey and actually applying for a license from the Capital Markets Board as well. So I think, to summarize, the Turkish audience is such a huge market to tap into, and it's such a huge opportunity both for Turkish and for international projects to come in and create a community that it's only growing. So I think Turkey is just going to continue to keep growing from here. Yeah.
What's next for EAK Digital after Istanbul Blockchain Week?
Yes, so at EAK Digital, after Istanbul Blockchain Week, we'll obviously be preparing for the next Istanbul Blockchain Week. But no, in general, we're hosting events in Dubai and in Singapore, like I mentioned. So we have a whole events team that are consistently throwing events around the world. And these events are focused on different areas. As I mentioned, one of them is focused just on AI and blockchain. One of them is focused just on investments. And another one, obviously, is focused on Turkey. So as an agency, we are tapping into many different new verticals. We're also working in EAK Sport, which is helping connect Web3 projects with major sports teams and clubs for sponsorships. Formula One is full of crypto exchanges these days, as well as football teams around the world. So I think as EAK continues to grow, we're going to continue to explore as many areas as we possibly can. But in general, we want to continue to grow both in the Middle East and, of course, in Asia as well.
What's your vision for where this industry is heading over the next 3 or 5 years?
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned before, with the ETFs approved and with more and more, I think we're going to see more and more companies put Bitcoin and digital assets on their balance sheet. Obviously, it's a hedge against inflation as well. Bitcoin, obviously, with its approach, and also it's a hedge against, basically the other traditional assets. So I think we're going to see more and more of that. I think we're going to see more and more countries also put Bitcoin in their treasury as well, as we've seen with El Salvador and many other countries. I think, like I said, the intersection of AI and crypto and blockchain is just going to make it so easy for every person in the street to use the product, in which case they will find new financial opportunities for themselves. And of course, the tokenization of everything, which is real-world assets, is just a no-brainer, I think, in order for onboarding traditional, financial assets into the digital assets class. So, yeah, I think we're going to see a huge dissemination of that, and I think also in terms of the price action of blockchain and cryptocurrency, we're no longer going to see these huge ups and downs. As blockchain and crypto, Bitcoin, etc. mature, we're going to see a much more mature market. So these days of 100% up, then 80% crashes, that's going to probably change over the next 3 to 5 years.
Thank you for contribution, Mr. Korhaliller.
Thank you.